Hi again, it's me, Cinnamon. I'm a woman in my early 20s and I love all things budgeting and personal finance. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, welcome. And if you've seen my past videos, welcome back. I used to make these ynab budget with me videos and I really enjoyed them, but I kind of stopped making them because I felt that my budget had gotten pretty automated and they were less interesting to make. And what I'm really looking forward to making is more podcast style videos that are having conversations about money, but I definitely still love sharing my budget when I think there are some exciting, recap points. And so because we're almost halfway through the year, I decided that this would be a really good recap point just to catch people up on what I have been spending on. So I've actually been staying pretty on budget. I mean, I do overspend, but overall, overspend in certain categories like food. I've spent almost $900 on food, and I'll probably get to the $900 mark by the end of the month. There's still 2 days left in the month, so I'll definitely get to the $900 mark. But overall, like on my categories, I am underspending, except for 1 month where there was a little snafu where I thought I wouldn't be needing my commuting category anymore. Commuting is the new name for my transportation expenses that are reimbursable by my work. So I thought I wouldn't need that category anymore because my work is now moving towards a program where we get a debit card that we can just use to spend on commuting instead of waiting for reimbursements. But that program actually isn't like in my area yet. It's in some areas, but not my area. So I thought I would just be starting the program in April, and I took money out of this category and spent it. And then I actually still needed that category, so I had to find a way to make up for that. And so that month I did overspend, but other than that, things have been pretty on track. And to give a full picture of that, I'm going to go to my reports. And so let's start with the income side of reports. Oops. Yeah. So this is the month so far, and just starting, I wish I could make this bar like it doesn't need to be as big. I wish I could make it a little smaller. But just starting with the income side of reports, as you can see, most of my income comes from my job. I don't have like any side hustles or anything I'm doing right now. Although I've thought about getting like a side job just for fun and like the social aspect, but the more I think about it, the more I should just do normal like social activities to make friends. So that's something I'm still like wrestling with. So this income side might end up changing if I do end up picking a weekend job for the social aspect. And yeah, as you can see, pretty consistent paychecks. I did get a small raise, so that's why you can see things are a little higher in April. And in March, this is higher because it was a 3 paycheck month. So yeah, overall, I'm also getting a good amount of money in interest and a good amount of money in cash back. I don't know, in May I got so much in cash back, so that's probably because I spent so much in April. And yeah, these are just my reimbursements from work, usually for transportation expenses. And in May, I also got some income from a friend who Venmoed me for concert tickets I bought for us. That was actually supposed to be a gift. Then we got into like an argument. This is so fun. So we got into an argument. I got us like concert tickets. We got into an argument, and I was just like, are we still going to this concert together? And like our petty fight led to me being Venmoed back for the cost of the concert tickets. And then we made up, and I was like, I'm keeping the money because you started a fight with me. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys ever get into like petty Venmo drama with your friends, but that was kind of interesting. So, I ended up on the profit side of it. So, I don't mind that. Yeah, so income pretty consistent, and I think that's why I've been able to be really automated with my budget because I don't have any crazy things happening every month where I'm like having different income, like it's increasing or decreasing. which last year I was a little bit more stressed with my budget because I had made projections for the whole year, and even though my income was consistent, my signing bonus had been like significantly less than I planned for because it had been double taxed due to like an accounting error at work. And because that was less than what I planned for, even though my paychecks were consistent, the way I thought I would be able to flush out my sinking funds with my signing bonus, I wasn't able to do. So I really had to pay attention to my spending last year. But this year I started over with my plan and everything's been consistent and just going as planned. So yeah, it's been way easier to budget having just like a regular 9 to 5 kind of W-2 pay situation. And paycheck deductions, nothing interesting here. Um, Core investments, yeah, mostly just putting into my HSA and my 401k. And this month where you see I spent more on my core investments, I think investing with ynab and like saving for investing in ynab is a little tricky because I will save for investing, but I won't necessarily like actually buy the stocks that month. I'll just put it into that account for buying the stocks. And so it doesn't really count that you saved, you made those investments until you actually bought the stock. So it's like really hard to track how much I've actually like invested in a way because sometimes my investments are just putting into my savings account right now since the return I'm getting on my savings account is so high and the market's going down. So you can kind of wait a little bit to buy something. This is not advice in any way. I'm just saying that I just let it sit in my savings account a little bit longer before I'm buying something. That's at least what I'm doing. So yeah, here I had just formally like moved the money from my savings account to my investment account and bought the stock. So that's why you see this jump here. But everything else is pretty consistent, and that is just what's coming out of my paychecks. Core spending, this is like the most important category to me. I try to keep my core spending total under $3,300, and I've done that every month except for April, where there was that little snafu where I thought I would have more free cash flow because of the change in the way I would be paying for my commuting to work. So I did overspend that month, but on average, yeah, on average, I am under what I'm trying to do, so I'm happy about that. And I will one month try to do like an explicit $300 deficit so that April can be made up for in some way. And I'm hoping June could be that month. We will see. I think June maybe could be that month because I will be mostly spending out of my sinking fund. So it's a little life hack of getting out of things counting in this core spending category. From my sinking funds, I haven't been spending that much out of my sinking funds. Initially, putting money into my sinking funds was kind of hard at the beginning of the year because I was trying to save $5,000 every month for this year so that I can hit my $60,000 savings goal. The reason why that was a little stressful is because I came to that $60,000 savings goal by thinking of saving 50% of my income. Now, my income in the latter half of the year is going to be higher than my income in the earlier half of the year, not just because of the like small raise I got, but I actually am getting like a payout of stock and a bonus at the end of the year as well. So considering that, it doesn't make sense to hold myself to the same standards when I'm going to have more money than when I have less money. If the numbers were so wildly different, I definitely wouldn't have done that. But because the numbers seemed close enough, I thought I could just keep everything flat throughout the year. But when I was actually doing that, saving $5,000 a month in the beginning of the year was a little stressful because I had very little left to put into my sinking funds. And I made the switch in that logic around April, and I felt like I could actually fill my sinking funds a little bit more and spend from them more comfortably. So yeah, at the beginning of the year, I was barely spending anything from them, just for fun. Um, this is some room decor I was doing. What is this? Yeah, more room decor, an electric toothbrush that I actually have not even opened the box for yet, which is why I'm like, why do I spend money when I don't like changing my routine at all? And April was a very spendy month. I got a lot of like different kinds of work done. So dermatological work done with some dermaplaning and a chemical peel. I really, really love the results and I want to do some more of that one. I fill up my sinking funds again. I got a dental cleaning. Usually my insurance would cover that, but because it's covering my braces, I've like hit my out-of-pocket max for the year. Not out-of-pocket max, but like my benefit max, I guess. So with dental, you usually have like a maximum amount that you can spend in the year. So I hit that max that they will cover. So I have to cover everything myself. And I went to the hair salon and there were Ubers for these various things. And I also put down a deposit on a consultation for some cosmetic work I want to have done as well. So that's where all of that went to in April. And in May, what's been happening? I did some taxes. I used TurboTax, which I will never ever use again. I just did it this time because it was like way more convenient and I was already so late on doing my taxes that them already having my information was just like easier for me. But I wish I really did take the time to switch over to Free Tax USA because I would have saved like $100. Braces. I have a trip to LA that I'm doing. I have those concert tickets that I got that I talked about a little bit earlier. And what is this? Oh yeah, and I bought like local hair products from a small business around me. So that's what's been happening in my sinking funds. And then this investment rollover account is actually from my signing bonus from last year because your signing bonus, there are like stipulations on it that you might need to pay it back if you don't stay for a year. And I literally did not think I would make it a year in this job just because I was working was just so different from like academia. And I really didn't think I would like cut it in industry. So I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it in this job. I did not feel comfortable like spending for my signing bonus, but yeah, in February I did spend from it a bit and actually formally make investments using that money. And there's still some like left over there, and I have to build up the courage again to put some money in the market and move it out of my very cushy high yield savings account. So one thing that's like a really little bit tricky with the ynab is this net income number because I feel like I've definitely like netted more than this. So my investments, right? Like I've spent 14,000 in investments, but they're still part of my net worth. So like I've still netted that. And then in ways I've also netted less than this because some of this money is like money in my sinking funds that I am going to spend at some point, but I haven't spent yet. So for me, in order to really like figure how much I've netted, I take this number, which is my total investments that I've already made. Um, and that's, let's see, I think 14,75257. So take that number and I go to my investment group, and this is how much I have to invest that I haven't yet invested. And of course, if I move money out of this category, like I'll have to change this number again. Um, so yeah, I actually have saved up enough to max out my Roth IRA, but I will be having to do a backdoor Roth, I believe. So I'm like waiting to make sure I like fully understand the implications with that before I do something like that because it's allowed, but it also seems like it's kind of not allowed, and I'm just really confused about it still. So I want to take my time before doing anything like that. And then I have some more is just for hitting my 45% savings goal, which is my baseline. And yeah, so that number is 10,793. 32. So, yeah, I would say this is how much I've saved and invest. Well, all of it is going to go in investments eventually this year. So that's $25,544.89. So I'm definitely on the track I want to be. I still have one more month before I'm hitting that 6 month mark. And yeah, it's pretty close to, half of my $60,000 goal. So I'm really happy about that. And so that's my spending and investing so far. And even though I haven't been recording, I have been pretty good about my budget and I'm happy like going over what I'm seeing from there. So this video is actually already 20 minutes long almost, and I had so much more I wanted to talk about. So I'll just kind of give an early recap to what I will be going over in my like more podcast style video, which is now that I feel really comfortable with like budgeting and staying on a budget, I actually really need to get like more comfortable with spending money, and I'm like very conflicted about it. So on one hand, I genuinely like enjoy being on a budget. Like I know there are people who want to live like life without a budget and that's like their source of freedom. I really like the discipline that having a budget gives me, and I'm also like grateful that I can make a budget that, if I do go over budget or mess something up, it's really just going to be a matter of me saving less than not being able to keep up with my core spending and especially like my essential bills and everything. So for those reasons, it's really easy for me to find budgeting enjoyable and stuff like that. So, as you can see, I've been staying on budget and also being able to hit my financial goals so far. And something recently happened where I got my, no, that sounds so dramatic. Something recently happened, but nothing dramatic. I did get my like tax refund back and it was pretty close to what I estimated. I can't remember exactly what I estimated, but it was in that $9,000 range. And while I'm happy to be getting a big tax refund because I had overpaid in taxes a lot last year, which is what was causing some of that stress for me, and changing my plans around. I'm also really annoyed that like the government borrowed $9,000 from me without paying me any interest. So I'm really happy now to see that my tax situation is set up where I'm not paying ahead on taxes in any way yet. I'm actually like yellow on all my tax categories so far because when I do start making more money in the end of the year, I'll definitely be getting ahead on them a bit more. But yeah, I'm just glad to see that I'm not overpaying in taxes, and won't be having to like anxiously kind of wait for my refund back and making sure everything is done diligently. So yeah, I did get my tax refund this month and it was as I had expected and planned. And then I was like sitting in ynab. I was like, okay, let's give these dollars a job. And my original plan, if you remember, like my yearly budget video, was that I had already hit my savings goals for last year, which was, kind of a struggle for me because I was working with less than I had planned and I had already sacrificed a lot of things in my sinking funds to still hit those savings goals. Um, so when I got my tax refund, which was, this is my 2022 money that was supposed to be part of like my discretionary spending, I would just discretionarily spend it in 2023. Like I wouldn't use it towards any savings and investment goals. And so when I was thinking, okay, what am I going to spend discretionarily on? I was like, I don't know. Like, even when you see my sinking fund categories, I had to create a holding category for my sinking funds because I was just getting more money in my sinking funds now. And aside from like the few things that I was waiting to spend on, I was just like, I don't know what to do with this money. I could definitely just use it to accelerate my savings goals, but those aren't really that meaningful to me because I just wanted to have that percentage savings goal. But I'm also not like saving or investing in anything particular. Like, I feel like I'm on track with my retirement investing. I'm not really interested in buying a house anytime in my life, to be honest. But when I do get interested in that, I think I'll be able to come up with a down payment through my other like savings and investing portfolio somehow. So I don't really feel like compelled to save rapidly for a down payment or anything. And yeah, I just don't like have too many wants. Um, and it's sometimes really hard to talk about because this is gonna sound so weird and kind of why I have been feeling off about making a video because I am incredibly grateful for the job I have and that like I'm able to make enough money to beyond live comfortably, honestly. And this is such a hard time for so many people, and I'm seeing how so many people are struggling and everything like that, and struggling like particularly like financially. And it's weird to talk about like, oh, I have money and I don't know how to spend it when so many people like can't, keep up with their bills. So I don't want it to sound tone deaf in any sort of way. Like I definitely do understand like this is not even a problem to have. Um, but so yeah, like with that all said, I do also think about like one thing that I'm kind of struggling with isn't just like, oh, I have money that I don't know how to spend or what to do with. I have like excess in that way. I also feel like I have all of the societal expectation to spend money in ways that don't really align with me. And I wonder if like this is something other people have. I think now, like when you're in a certain like group of people who earn a certain amount of money or people know you earn a certain amount of money, and again, not because like this is something I talk about too much in real life. If someone asks me, I'm always open with them because I think salary transparency is like awesome for everyone. Um, but when you just talk about, oh, I work at this company or I do this role, people already have their assumptions, right, about what the kind of money you make. So even without being explicit about it, some people just will like assume you make a certain kind of a certain amount of money. And I feel like with that, there are like expectations for me to like live certain lifestyles that I don't want to live. So I have roommates, and I mean, my rent is 1700. Oops, wrong category. My rent is 1700 a month, which is actually kind of, I want to say it's low because it hurts me. It does hurt me at times because, but it's definitely like pretty good for my area and my neighborhood. And it is that way because I have several roommates, and people are like, oh, why don't you live with roommates? Like, there's an expectation that like you would want to live alone in a luxury high-rise building. And it's like, I have no desire to live alone. I really do like living with roommates, and I don't really want to live in like one of those like luxury high-rise buildings because they're like luxury, but the walls are always so thin, and I feel like everything is so cheaply made nowadays. I don't know how that's possible, but I think like there's that expectation that that's the lifestyle I want to have, and it's not. So like, I don't want to move anytime soon and increase my rent by $1,000 at any point. Like, it's not a future goal of mine. I feel like I do have what I want in a living situation, and I'm super happy and grateful for that. I think too, there's like a societal expectation that like everyone wants to travel, and so I take time off and everything, and then it's like, oh, where are you headed? Where are you going? What are you gonna do with your time off? And it's like, no, I'm gonna take time off to like read some books and clean my house, and like next time I'm gonna take time off, I'm really gonna use that to do more shopping for my room for some decor and just like have chill days at home. Like I really don't want to like do travel, especially international travel. Kind of the idea of it stresses me out, and so that's where a lot of people like do have their like spending go. um a lot of, I feel like with my friends, a lot of their like high expenses come from all of these international trips they take. But if you're not like interested in doing that, it's so easy to spend save money. And when you're also not interested in doing that, it's just, but I feel like there's that expectation that that's what I would want to do. Um, for work, I do want to start like dressing better and more put together just for my daily life. But yeah, like even now that I've been trying to shop more for clothes and stuff, I feel like I've just been really enjoying like the thrifting experience and everything. Yeah, there's this idea that, oh, once you hit a certain milestone in your life, you'll want to celebrate that with some kind of luxury purse, luxury purchases, having these luxury items. And I'm not that interested in having luxury items. And there's so many people, like all of these things I'm saying, living with roommates, not having luxury items, not being interested in travel. I feel like actually the not being interested in travel thing is rare. Like it's so rare to find people who just are like, no, I don't want to travel ever. I like want to just explore my little neighborhood to the max. That's kind of rare now, but at least with the other two groups. No, even like with the roommates thing, I feel like everyone's goal is to live alone too, like across different income levels. That seems to be a goal for a lot of people. The luxury thing, definitely not everyone is interested in buying luxury bags or shoes or anything like that. So that's something that I think you'll find across like different income levels. But again, I feel like there's this expectation that those are the things that I would want. Um, I see this expectation like in so many places, like whether that be in real life, just like your social groups, but also online spaces that I read about. Like, I feel like there's this expectation that these are the things you'll do when you have money. And it's so hard to find a fit because I'm not in the, oh, I need to retire as early as possible camp. Every dollar I have needs to go towards my retirement goal. I like working. I want to work for 40 years. No, I don't know if I want to say 40 years though, but I do want to work for more time. I'm not like that pressed to fire or, yeah, retire early, especially. So I don't feel like the urge to, yes, put all this extra money into savings. I do want to like spend it and find ways to invest in my life. But then the ways like people are investing in their lives, I don't feel like they speak to me. So I don't know if you guys have any suggestions and ways to deal about with this, or if you feel similarly, please let me know. I feel like I have been investing in my life more. I am doing a small domestic trip. I am going to a concert, which are some goals I have. I have been doing some of like the fun procedures I've been curious about, like a chemical peel, and been getting my hair done professionally more. So I have been doing those things, and yeah, they just didn't add up to like enough of my discretionary bucket. So I am still like, oh, what more should I do? Um, yeah, and it's also difficult because even when I want something and I buy it, I just am so in my routine. I don't end up incorporating it into my life, like the electric toothbrush. I already have a routine. Like I go to CVS, I buy a new toothbrush, I use it for a month, and I throw it away. That's just my routine. Switching to electric toothbrush and like it just feels like so different. I just haven't had time to do it. So hopefully when I'm editing this, this all makes sense in a way. And this was interesting to watch. This was interesting to listen to. Um, I think I can definitely like come up with a more cohesive podcast style investigation of these issues of like mandatory or mandated really lifestyle creep and just an innate lack of materialism in a very like consumerist society, how those things I've been grappling with those things. Okay, this has been so long. Thank you for listening. I hope I end up being like back with making these videos and hopefully I can find a group of people who are interested in these kinds of topics. And yeah, let me know if seeing my budget is still interesting when I just do the same thing every month. Okay, bye. Have a great day, guys.